I call that one Ode to Feminism. We should just admit that this is stupid. And I really hate that this is even a topic of discussion, period. But some hard topics must be addressed in difficult ways. First off, to preface all of this, Josh, you are heard. And I apologize, but this message is intended for Sully. Not for you. And that being said, you are still more than welcome to provide your own input and to listen, obviously. And this goes for all of the rest of you, really. Dominic, great guy. Owen, great guy. Isaac, great guy. Josh, you too, great guy. Sully. As of 3 o'clock this afternoon, I would have said that you are also a great guy. But now I'm not so sure. You could have made a light feminist monument, but you didn't. By tearing down the dark feminist monument, you are perpetuating stereotypes about the two groups. And that's not cool, to put it lightly. I appreciate what you had to say in your response. You're oversimplifying this issue. And okay. First off, you never designated what you're calling your property as your property. That was never really established. I don't know. There's no line. There's no clear line, and especially at the time the monument was erected, there was far from a clear line. Now, it's been a little more established now in the present day. But, well, I guess it was made a little more clear when you tore down that one spruce tree that I planted. I wouldn't be so upset right now if this wasn't a repeat occurrence. Just make a fence. Just make a fence. Or a wall. Anything will do, really. Light and dark feminism are tied together by one obvious thing, feminism. But we know that the differences between the two groups still cannot be ignored. But I think you're focusing on the negative details too much. Light feminists are a more peaceful group on the surface, I suppose. But they do nothing about it. They have their values. And I think they're good values. You know, they fight for, well, both sides fight for feminism, obviously, but they strive for more peaceful settlements of things, and, well, I think that's honorable. It just doesn't work like that. Dark feminism, as you know, has a more negative light because of their more extreme solutions to problems, more extreme protests. And I know you've seen the protests. Hey. I need you to understand that what sends a message is rarely the peaceful option. The fact I disagree with the bombing. I disagree with hijacking those planes. And I can't say I'm thrilled about the assassination attempts. But they're making headlines. And that's what matters. On September 11th, 2001, we lost 2 wonderful buildings. But everyone around the world knew about it. The women that hijacked the plane that crashed into that first tower were so incredibly brave. They were fighting for their cause. Something that the light feminists have still failed to do. The dark feminists are out here dying for the cause. And that's just not something you're going to get from the light feminists, is it? Admit it. Now, I think one of the biggest issues here is the names light and dark. Most oftentimes in any media, non-fictional, fictional, what have you, light is depicted as the good side, the good team. Dark is not. It's the opposite. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Light cannot exist without dark, and dark cannot exist without light. I don't believe either of these sides is better than the other. I appreciate the peacefulness of the light feminists. Yet I appreciate how bold the dark feminists are. Hence the monument. I didn't create the monument. Xander created the monument. And actually, I do have a point to make about Xander, but I will come back to that. Light feminists are not, as a broad generalization, and maybe this paints my speech here in a bad light, but light feminists typically aren't gonna have the chutzpah, if you will, to just create a monument. And now, well, the dark feminists do. What I wish happened, and I'm very regretful of this, I wish the monument was amended to include the light feminists. Or rather, the monument was reestablished as a general feminist monument. But it wasn't. I think you demolishing the dark feminist monument can and will be viewed as an attack. Now, the Dark Feminist Monument, sure, it was labeled as dark. But I've spoken to both sides. I try to remain centrist on this issue. I try to remain neutral, like a gray, if you will. Both sides appreciate the monument. Now, the light feminists disagree with the branding of dark feminism generally on the monument, and that's okay. That's okay. Obviously, the dark feminists, most of them didn't have an issue with it, but there were some that agreed that it should be a more general monument. Regardless, it was demolished. When I was speaking, hold on, I'm getting a call. Hello. Okay. Uh-huh. Understood. Goodbye. Sully, I say this as a companion, as a friend, if you will. You've been warned. The feminists, light and dark alike, have informed me that they are launching an attack on you. Unless you agree to this single condition. It's simple. And honestly, I would do this if I could. If I was in your shoes, I most certainly would. They require you to do one simple thing for them. All you have to do is build a feminist monument, and everything will be solved. How is that so difficult? Well, thank you, Sully. I have one more concern. But it is less related to you. Xander. It started with Super Ethan and then moved to the Dark Feminist Monument. Xander is constantly invading other people's spaces, regardless of if they were marked off or not. I adapted to Super Ethan, but I shouldn't have had to. I had much more grand plans in store. I had to put them not even on hold. I had to get rid of them. I had to scrap my plans and do something different. And I didn't really appreciate that. Xander, I'm calling you out. You aren't even playing in survival. Now, I will not pretend to never dip my toes into creative and commands and what have you. It's how I enjoy the game. But when everyone else is in survival, 90% of the time, you need to respect their boundaries. Absolutely under no condition should anyone's space be or feel invaded. What takes us 2 hours takes you 10 minutes. And I don't like having to do this. I am incredibly disappointed in you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That piece was called Feminist, parentheses, Untitled, close parentheses. Thank you.